The time is now. If you're a manufacturer that has not invested in knowing who your end user is and how you can interact with them more, you've got to start doing that, because you can't rely solely on the channel building your brand and building your demand long term.
How does a manufacturer balance the push-pull investments that they need to make moving forward in today's environment?
The big thing that's happening today is that for the manufacturers who have solely relied on and put the majority of their investment into the push side of it, they are being superseded and way behind these manufacturers who are doing both a push and a pull more effectively. So the pull is absolutely required today for manufacturers to build their brand and to build a demand behind their brands, because so much has changed in that distribution to where they just don't have the resources or the touches and interactions with their end customers to build these brands anymore.
And we love giving examples. So manufacturer we work with, premium brand, industrial space, and the challenge is that they didn't have a great, or traditionally didn't have a great relationship with those end users.
Yeah.
Right, so here they're in this position of strong distribution, well placed around the markets, well covered, but end user and brand building at that level was a gap.
Yeah.
Right? How did they fill that gap? What are some of the things that they did to start filling that gap?
Yeah, and it starts with the manufacturer.
Yep.
They have to make investment to know who their end user is.
Right.
To where they have to start building that database of users. And then they need to really understand how they can start communicating more effectively with those end users, building their value props, building their engagement strategies with the full spectrum of digital all the way through to field support and whatnot.
That's interesting. Who your end customer is, just identifying them.
Yeah.
And then how to effectively communicate.
Yep.
Am I communicating, regardless of what I tell them?
Yep.
Now I need to know, am I actually delivering it to them in a meaningful way? Yep. Whether it's socially, direct, in person, through a variety of different medias and channels and opportunities, that's a critical part. I wanted to touch on that. That's a very critical part there, because people often miss that part, right?
Yeah.
They create a value prop, but they just deliver it for crap.
Yeah, and there's a difference between the value prop and then the tactic, right, of the channel in which you're communicating. Like, even the value prop needs to be segmented by the type of user you're going after. And that's what distribution has historically done well for manufacturers, but because they're closer to the end customer. But if you're a manufacturer selling across 10 markets, you want to personalize that value prop to that market, to that user.
So the $1 million question, is this a short-term fad? Is this all going to go away, or is this here to stay with those end users kind of seeking out that engagement with those manufacturers?
No, this is here to stay. Absolutely.
Yeah, and we see that same thing. That ship has sailed.
Yeah.
We are not going back to, maybe the way you would traditionally think that relationship would be. That corner has been turned, and on we go. What immediate investments can the manufacturers make today that's going to put them in a position to win tomorrow?
Yeah. Step one, know who your end user is.
Yeah.
Right? So that could be looking at your dropship data. That could be working with your channel customers to understand more about POS and types of markets and users that you attract. Step two, understand more about them. Develop value props, develop messaging that really resonates with what they're seeking. And step three is start to design direct engagement strategies to build your brand awareness and brand preference directly with end users. And what you do with that demand that you create is either pull it through the channel or pull it through whatever means of conversion that that reflects your go-to-market strategy.
And the last thing I would add there is, if you don't have that capability internally yourself, if you don't have that inherently within your business, seek outside partners, seek outside help and advice. And I'm sure they'll get you the information you seek so you can redevelop and redeploy your go-to-market strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. But the time is now. If you're a manufacturer that has not invested in knowing who your end user is and how you can interact with them more, you've got to start doing that, because you can't rely solely on the channel building your brand and building your demand long term.
Perfect. Love it.